Hi, this is Jessica. Today we're going to do some yoga exercises for cyclists. So I hope you enjoy it. I'll explain each move and some variations of the move that you can do. Okay? First, we're going to start off with a child's pose. So you're going to come over onto your mat. Your hands are going to be under your shoulders. Your knees are going to be under your hips, and then you'll just go ahead and hinge back, resting those hips back towards your feet, taking your forehead down to the mat. Some variations of child's pose is you can go ahead and bring those arms up nice and long. You can wrap those arms around your back, pressing up towards the sky. You can always also take the one hand out in front of you, take your opposite hand, slide it through, and come down on that shoulder. And then do each side. Just being mindful of your back. You can also, if that does not feel good, coming down all the way to your shoulder, if you're very tight, you can always just bring that elbow down to the mat and sit back on that. That is going to, if you're pretty tight, that will be a really good stretch for you. Our next one is going to be a kneeling plank. So those hands are going to go directly underneath your shoulders. You're going to walk those knees back to where you feel comfortable, and you're not slumping down like an up dog, and you're not piking up like a pike. You're going to keep a nice straight body, opening up that chest. You're still going to get a nice back stretch. You're bringing that chest nice and open. And you're going to want to hold each one of these poses for maybe like 30 seconds. If you are enjoying it, you can hold it up to about a minute. Again, like we talked about last week, you always want to keep your breath rate nice and slow. In for 4, out for 4. Every time you transition, if you want to make this into a flow, you can, when you go from one position to the next, you're gonna want to breathe into it. Okay. So on child's pose, you would exhale back. On plank, you're going to inhale forward, okay? And then the next thing that we're going to do is called a kneeling croc. First, I'm going to start with the lying croc. A croc is when you're all the way down, those legs are coming out wider than shoulder width apart. That's going to give you a nice stretch in here. You need to exhale and release the tension in those hips, okay? And then your arms are coming out to the side. You can always, another version of this is you can bring that on each side, bring that knee up towards your shoulder, and just settle into that hip, letting that hip come closer to the mat. Then you would do each side. Now a kneeling croc is you're going to place those hands underneath your shoulders. You're going to come up, those legs are out, and you're kind of like in that plank position, but your legs are out nice and wide. And you're thinking about those adductor muscles. You're just kind of sinking those hips, keeping it back nice and flat. Chest is open, shoulders are down, and you're just kind of letting those hips sink down into that croc position, okay? The next one is cobra. So cobra, you're going to come back into that plank. You're going to walk your hands down. So cobra is hands are flat down on the mat and your chest is opening up, okay? And so this is going to work on that great lower back that a lot of cyclists have issues with because they're in this position a lot, or this position, there's a lot of strain. Back exercises are so important in cycling. You think that your legs are just powering everything, and really, as a cyclist, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your back, your core is so important. And so as it is important for those things to be strong, it is very important for those things to be stretched so that they don't get injured. So here's cobra. You're going to put those hands down, and you're going to just open up that chest. So you're inhaling up. And you're going to stay here for about at the count of 5 breaths. If you want something a little bit more intense, if you're a little bit more flexible, you can take those hands down by your chest and come up for up dog. So that's going to give you more of a C curve in that back. Again, always remember, those hands stay underneath your shoulders, and you're only going up as far as your back feels comfortable. So our next one is then you would go back after Cobra, then you would so you're here or here, and you're going to take your hands flat and exhale back into that plank or that child's pose position. Taking whatever variation of child's pose that you like. You're going to stay there for, again, 30 seconds, or if you want to just count your breaths, like 5 to 10 breaths. So then our next one after child's pose is going to be bridge. And bridge is going to stretch out those quads, that back, and your shoulders. So you're going to put your feet down nice and flat to the mat. You're going to lower down. You're going to tuck those shoulder blades up underneath you, and then you're going to press those hips up towards the ceiling. Now, while those hips are being pressed up towards the ceiling and you're tightening that bottom, this is a great strength move for your bottom. Think about keeping those knees in together because your body naturally wants to fold out. So you want to keep those knees together, hips are being pressed up to the ceiling. You're going to get a nice stretch in those quads, okay? And again, you would hold that for about 5 to 10 breaths, whatever you feel is comfortable. We did this one last week. This is bow. So you're going to come flat on that belly, okay? And then you're going to bring one foot up, wrap that hand around, and then the other foot, okay? And so if this is a good enough pose, then you could just stay here. Now, if you are a little bit more flexible or you want to deepen that stretch a little bit, you're going to use your feet and press them back. And that's going to naturally open up that shoulder blade. Your quads are going to get a nice stretch. Your lower back. So you're going to be down here, and you're going to take a nice deep inhale, filling those lungs with air, and staying here for about 5 breaths, okay? And then exhale, very slowly, letting your body unfold naturally. The next one is a kneeling lunge. So you're going to go ahead, inhale, bring yourself up. Take this right leg, bring it through. Now, you can this is a kneeling lunge. We went over lunges last week a little bit. So always, 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 your knee is over your ankle, okay? Hands are on the mat. You're pressing that hip down towards the mat. You're thinking about your chest being open. Everything, whenever you're doing yoga, chest open. You're just opening yourself up to feeling good and releasing and accepting good energy. So you're going to take that left hip, you're pressing it down towards the mat. And so with every exhale, you just feel, you have to be mindful of your breath, because when you're mindful of your breath, you can allow those muscles to release. And we all know that us athletes, we are wound up tight and we just want to go, 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 go. And that's why yoga is so important for athletes, because it takes them down a notch, okay? So you're pressing that hip forward. And then our next one is going to be pyramid. So you would take that back foot and you're going to bring yourself up. Hands are on either side of your foot. You're going to kind of hop yourself forward, pressing that heel down towards the mat, okay? This front knee is slightly bent, okay? And you're just kind of, you're folding over that knee, taking that nose towards your knee. Now you're going to feel this stretch in your hip. Piriformis, IT band, all of those really nasty injuries that we suffer from. And you're just going to take, again, with every exhale, you're just going to let yourself slowly fold towards that knee. And now if you're here, that's completely fine too. If you're feeling that hamstring, or not that hamstring, that quad, piriformis, IT band, all that kind of stuff, if you're feeling that engaged in a modified version of it, that's okay. Allow yourself to slowly lengthen out. So with every exhale, you're slowly bringing yourself down closer. Also, you're concentrating, this heel is not up, this heel is down. So you're also getting a nice stretch in that calf, the hamstring. So you're getting lots of different areas. And that's the great thing about yoga, is you're not just stretching one area. You're getting multiple areas at the same time. So most of us are just used to, going like this and, oh, gotta get that, and then they're done. So this way, when you take a pose, you're offsetting multiple different areas at the same time. So after you're done with pyramid, so you're here, you're gonna go ahead and take a slight bend in those knees, bring yourself down. Now, our next one is frog pose, and frog is gonna be kind of like that kneeling crocodile that we already did. You're gonna take those knees nice and wide, okay? And you can either stay here and sink those hips down, hands are flat on the mat, you can sink those hips down. You can take your hands forward, sinking those hips back, and you're concentrating on those adductor muscles. So you're really, wherever you're feeling that, like, so say, pretty tight, you don't stretch, and just sink, like keeping your legs here in this, make a nice pyramid, and just sinking those hips back, wide open like that is enough for you, that's fine. But if you can slowly, on your exhale, kind of bring yourself down, hinging that bottom, up towards the ceiling, really kind of just settling back into it, that's gonna help. It's gonna stretch, we don't stretch our adductor muscles enough. So that is a great, it's comfortable. You can just like lay here. You can catch most kids laying like that. So it's a very natural feeling pose. A little awkward if somebody's watching, but very natural, and it feels really good to get those inner thigh muscles stretched out. So our next one is going to be that camel pose that we did last week. So you're coming up on your knees, okay? And again, like we talked about, if you're a little bit less flexible, bring those toes up on the mat so that you can just reach back and grab those heels. You're pressing those hips towards the front of the room. You're getting a nice stretch in that lower back, those quad muscles, bringing those shoulder blades, pinching those shoulder blades together. If you want to intensify it a little bit, you can drop that neck down, or bring that chin up towards the ceiling. Again, if you want to intensify it a little bit more, take those feet flat to the mat. You're going to come back, arching that belly, or arching those hips up towards the front of the room, pinching those shoulder blades together. You're going to get a nice stretch right in here, because let's face it, when you're like this all the time, these muscles are going to tend to shorten. You want to lengthen those out. You want to spread those shoulders back, and all of this nice and open. And then the same thing with, spreading that back the opposite way. So then our last one today is going to be butterfly. We went over this last week. It's a pretty simple pose. So you go ahead, you bring those feet in nice and close, take a nice deep inhale. I like to take the chin down, getting a nice spinal stretch, and on your exhale, you're lowering those knees down. Don't ever press. You don't want, these adductor muscles are very easily strained, so you want to just be kind to them. You want to just let those naturally open up. So you're just letting the weight of your legs stretch that muscle. Now, if you're a little bit more flexible, you can go ahead and leave one hand on there and just rest your arm or your hand and let that added weight pull it. But don't ever press or force a stretch. You want to let your body just naturally do it, because stretching is supposed to be good for your body, and you don't want to be counterproductive with that. So those are the basic ones. I'll post some pictures to illustrate them a little bit better. So again, child's pose, kneeling, plank. The ones that I really think are great are the frog pose and the crocodile, and getting that spinal twist. Like if you really want to try that spinal twist in your child's pose, that feels amazing. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you add it to your routine. Thank you, and have a great day.